Hi guys, welcome back to another video. This is one more for the series of what's flowering inside my indoor garden, and this time for the months of June and July. I decided to organize this video a little bit different from the other ones. I will show you the flowers in colors instead of talking about their genus or something like that. So just let you know, it wasn't the best month for me. I had an infestation of spider mites, which affected some of my plants. But anyway, let me show you what I had in bloom, and I hope you enjoy it. And starting with the color white, and the first flower that I had in bloom this month was a Cataya, and I had a spotlight where I showed you this plant before, but this Rincatleante chiffon white charm, I hope I pronounced it almost correctly. It's a beautiful white Cattleya with a yellow center, and it's one of these fluffy Cattleyas, but the plant's not so large. It's like that type of medium-sized Cattleyas. And it's so gorgeous, so elegant. It has a beautiful perfume as well. And just to tell you, this one, I didn't buy in a nursery, was a plant swap. I decided to change some orchids division with other orchid growers on one of the Facebook, I think, groups here in the UK. And someone sent me this division and I sent her other divisions. So I've been growing it for many years and it has finally managed to bloom, and on top of that it's a Cattleya and survived for many years with me, so yay, I'm so glad. And it has beautiful blooms. The next plant that is also white, and it's elegant as well because why not, right? Who doesn't love flowers that are star-shaped and also has some frilly leaves and is full of like dark dots? I'm talking about a common hybrid that you can find in garden centers here in the UK at least, and you probably would maybe find even in your local flower shop. So this one is Bracia Renaissance. It has a typical Bracia Bracia type of fragrance. It's not the most pleasant one. But what is nice about this plant is the way that the flowers, this orchid managed to push out spikes more than once a year, and it's a quite resistant, resilient type of Funcidium intergeneric. You can count on it year after year, even with many infections and lots of different tissues. This plant is able to bounce back and to keep there. So if you want a plant that you probably will succeed with, and you want to try to have one of these star-shaped type of intergenerics, super recommend this one. And hopefully you have blooms multiple times a year. The blooms are, as I said, star-shaped. They have this type of pattern in all of the leaves, and I think it makes a great addition to my collection. I'd love to have some other versions of it, maybe a purple one, I don't know. But at the moment, I only have this one, and I have the Peg Roof Carpenter as well. That was fighting some pests, but is still hanging there. So, I hope you enjoy these beautiful blooms, and just offer the same care that you offer to any other Funcidium intergeneric. This plant should grow and bloom for you at least 2 times a year. Now, let's talk about some yellow orchid flowers, shall we? So here I have my Philodendron ovalis brown. I've spoken about this plant before. It's not the most common type of orchid because it will not push out super large blooms. The flowers are tiny, small, and that they are this faded tone of yellow. However, it does remind me of some insects or maybe bees, if you like. It's like it has antennas, and I don't know if it's to mimic insects in nature, maybe, but it does have some fragrance, but it's like a grassy fragrance. It's not the most amazing in the world, and we'll push out this flower in multiple directions of growth. This time I have it in bloom only in 2 different directions, but it's hanging in there. The only thing about this plant is that it will spread in the pot, so you need to have a large pot for it to be able to keep growing and growing, because it's a very unruly plant and will keep pushing new growths. But it's not a large orchid either. It's kind of short, and The short pseudobulbs will push one bloom after another. It's a sequential bloomer as well. So when one flower fades, the following flower is already coming. So you will have Philodendron flowers for a while. And I think it's a cute plant. It's a little bit different from other orchids that I own. Next here, you have seen this one this year already. And it's only here because the weather in the UK is very unpredictable. Hey, my English. What happened is this Philodendron started pushing flower spikes and I've stopped blooming. So it bloomed for me during winter time. I cut the spikes, I placed it on my shelving, and when I noticed it was already growing another flower spike and another flower spike, and it's full of blooms now. It's the Phenopsis Shingri's gold staff. It's a very famous complex hybrid because of the color and the pattern. It's a little bit different from other Philodendrons that we see in garden centers, flower shops and supermarkets. It will have this yellow backdrop with some purple veining, so when you look from the distance, looks like it is orange, but in the reality it's just yellow and purple mixed. What I like about this plant is how resilient it is. You just offer the same care that you offer to all of your Philodendrons, and this one keeps growing strong and strong year after year. And I need to repot it, but at the moment I'm only enjoying these beautiful blooms. It's still in the realm of warm colors. I have here my Perara Bangkok Sunset crossed with my Renanthera Historiae. So this is a Vandaceous orchid. It is one of these medium to large type of Vanda orchid that will push out a ton of beautiful small blooms. I could wait next month to show you, but I thought that this month I didn't have so many blooms, so I think it would be nice for you to see it already. What I adore specifically about this hybrid is the color tone of the flowers. Is this kind of red, orange and pink, and all of them mixed together, like you are looking at the sky when the sun is going down, and the sky has all of these super warm tones. That's how I feel when I look to this plant. I think it's beautiful, beautiful type of Vanda. If you find it locally and it has a, let's say, affordable price, I super recommend this orchid. If you offer some bright light, enough fertilizer, and water it every time the roots get completely dry, it should grow and bloom for you, and it will pull such a show. I love it. I think it's one of my spotlights, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. It's still in the realm of the red Philodendron. I wish I had more blooms to show you. This plant is one of these sequential bloomers that again blooms for me not only when it's summertime but also when it's winter time. So it's one of these Philodendrons that will have almost always in bloom. It's my Phenopsis Triler. And it has these tiny flowers, and the flowers, they are super red in color, some of like a dark tone of red, and they will have this lip that has just a tiny bit of yellow to it, exactly in the middle of the flower, so it's very, very cute. The flower, they are waxy and very thick, and as I said, each will push out a ton of spikes, and the flower spikes will keep blooming and pushing out new buds. Then we'll have a tiny break, and then we'll start pushing out flowers again. I can show this plant for you every what's flowering inside my indoor garden, because I'm sure it will be in bloom between months. And it's one of these plants that if you want to have an orchid that will be blooming for you year after year and maybe multiple times a year, I super recommend this one. It's super easy to look after as well. Just offer the same care that you offer to all of your Philodendrons and it should be fine. Let's go to the next one. The next one, it's another complex hybrid, is another Philodendron. This one is my Philodendron Adorian, and I've showed you this one again in the beginning of the year, but that's the same thing that happened to the gold staff. Simply push out flower spikes out of nowhere, 2 flower spikes, and start, growing buds. And now the flowers, they are all almost fully open. And I have a bloom show for the second time this year, but this only happened because here where I live, in my region of the world, the temperature fluctuates a lot, and it's simply, let's say, spring or end of spring, and then we will have some very cool days, I would say chilly days, not exactly super warm, and I think that makes my Phalaenopsis to spike again. If I had a warm summer and spring, I don't know if I would have so many complex hybrids in bloom at this point in time, but because my temperature dropped and then it got warm again and then dropped again, so that's the reason why my Phalaenopsis are blooming. And the Adorian is a beautiful Phalaenopsis that has this tone of pink that's like almost a salmon kind of peach tone of pink. And I think for me the highlight of this plant is the fragrance. It has a beautiful fragrance to it, and it has mottled leaves as well. The leaves are so beautiful. So for me, this complex hybrid is one of these that has the perfect combo, and you can find it locally. It's affordable, and it has everything that you look for in a Phalaenopsis. It has a beautiful fragrance, beautiful leaves, beautiful flowers, and it's also kind of compact. When you push out the flower spikes, it gets a little bit, let's say, wild, and you need some space. But more than that, it's super easy to keep in my collection at least. I hope you enjoy to see its blooms twice this year. Now let's talk about a sweet pink type of orchid, and that has rebloomed for me is my Cataya Crystal Smith Nathan Reward. I've done a spotlight on it. I've showed you this one before, but it has rebloomed, and I was quite surprised because I reported it recently and I wasn't expecting to rebloom so quickly and to mature a new growth like nothing. I've never seen a Cataya that's able to just grow a new growth and bloom like that. So I think it's probably one of super easy type of orchids to grow and an easy to go Cataya too. So I am so happy to say that it rebloomed in my care and pushed out this beautiful pink flower with this super strong, like egg yolk tone of lip. And it is gorgeous. It has zero fragrance. It's just the flowers, and I have to enjoy the flower. I hope next time I'll have more than one flower. But since that's the first time that it's reblooming for me after I reported, I'm super happy with the result. And it's one of these super sweet orchids, and they are so compact as well. I can keep it anywhere, so it's a space saver, which is always a plus. Next here, finally, I have a Dendrobium Phalaenopsis for you. My Dendrobium Phalaenopsis was severely attacked by thrips years ago. I lost a ton of them. Some of them are still recovering. I placed them in these special high humidity chambers. Some of them have rooted, others not so much, but these ones have fully recovered. And not only, it's like pushing these massive growths that don't fit inside its pot anymore, and push out this flower spike with these super elegant pink blooms. I don't know the tag of this one, is just a Dendrobium Phalaenopsis no ID, but I don't know if it's because I haven't seen my Phalaenopsis in bloom for a long time. I was super happy to see these spikes and to see its flowers. The advantage of Dendrobium Phalaenopsis is that their flowers will last for a while. They are super elegant, beautiful, and they are not fragrant, but you are able to have quite a show inside your home. They are not super hard to rebloom either. The only thing that they require is some care that's similar to Phalaenopsis in terms of super highlight, bright light, and they are not super thirsty either, so you need to be careful not to rot their roots. Wait for them to dry out completely before you give them some water. But more than that, they are super easy to look after, and they put a bloom show like nothing. So I can't wait to have my other Dendrobium Phalaenopsis in bloom, and I'll be able to show you all of them. Now a newbie here, and this newbie is my Philodendron Purple Martin Variety Blue. I acquired this plant not long ago and I filmed the unboxing here with you. I was super happy when I got this plant. I noticed how healthy it was and it had a flower spike already, and I told you that. So I haven't repotted this plant yet. I just kept it in my shelving, and the flower spike started to push out buds, and the buds open, and that's the result. It has this like lavender tone of purple, and it's so beautiful. I love how the petals and sepals, they are a little bit turned backward. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it looks like a bird opening its wings somehow. And the lip is a little bit darker. It's this dark like tone of purple. It has also a beautiful fragrance, a little bit close to the Barrina. It's kind of flowery, sweet type of fragrance, but nothing that will make you sick. It's just a beautiful fragrance. And again, the flower spike is short and the plant is gorgeous. If you find it with a good price and if you like this tone of purple, super recommend this plant. And I think you would love the flowers as well. Still in the realm of purple plants, I have here my Phenopsis Giarro Blueberry cross with Phenopsis Violia Indigo. You have seen this one maybe last month, and I'm sorry that I'm repeating it here, but every month this plant is pushing out more and more buds and flowers, and I believe this plant is able and capable of much more than that. I need to give this plant a little bit more care, but I'm already so happy to have so many flowers. It's like, I think, one of my favorite Philodendrons. As you can see, the tone of purple is very similar to the last one that I showed you. The difference is here, this one goes more, it's like a strongest tone of purple, and the fragrance is different as well because it has Violia, a lot of Violia in its DNA. So it has some tone of spice type of fragrance that's similar to any Violia fragrance, that's very similar to any other Violia hybrid. If you have any Violia hybrid, you know how it is supposed to smell. It's very, very similar. It's these flowers, they are all super dark purple. They are thick, waxy as well, and it's a very healthy type of hybrid. Oh my gosh, it's growing like nothing. It pushes out super large leaves and so many roots. So I need to repot and add a ton of fertilizer to its pot because I expect it to bloom much better next year, and I can't wait because it is so gorgeous and put a beautiful, beautiful show. This one is one of these polychilous type of Phenopsis that usually blooms when the weather gets a little bit warm. So you definitely need warmer temperature to be able to bloom and rebloom this plant. During winter time, it will have a short break and it will stop pushing out flowers, but I don't cut the flower spikes. I'll keep them on, and then they rebloom for me in the following year. And it's amazing to see that older it gets, more flower spikes I have, and more flowers I have as well. And then, to finish what's flowering inside my indoor garden, I will go to the last plant now. That's a green flowered plant. But before I do it, if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know which of these plants is your favorite. I'd love to know. Let me know if you have any of these in your collection. And I hope I can show you even more beautiful blooms in 2 months' time. I don't do it monthly because I don't think I have enough to show you every month. But every now and then, especially each 2 months, I would definitely have a full video for you. I hope you enjoyed this type of content, and let's go to the last bloom. So, the last orchid that I'm showing you here, it's an orchid that I have been going through a lot in the last months. It's a Zygopetalum Noy. It has beautiful green flowers with a purple, intense purple lip. It has the same shape that you see in lots of different Zygopetalums. The issue with this plant is, not only is a very thirsty plant, and now it's hot, so it's quite difficult to keep up with watering. and it needs some bright light more than my other Zygopetalum. But not only that, it's also the fact that attracts pests like nothing. The thin leaves is like it's triggering. It's been triggering for me and joking, but oh goodness, it's so hard to keep it pest free. So what happened is spider mites had a feast on these leaves, and then I sprayed some pesticide. It was clean for a while, but now again it got attacked again, and I now sprayed with oil. So let's see if the oils will do the trick. So the flowers got affected as well. That's why the flowers are not as beautiful as they can be, because they were being munched by spider mites. And I had to spray this plant when the buds were already there. So I think if that wasn't the case, probably the flowers would be a little bit better and we might even have more flowers. But that's the result. Even with pests, it managed to push through this flower spike, and I'm so glad that it did, because it's the only green flower that I have at the moment, and it's the only Zygopetalum in bloom, and I'm happy that it's at least recovering and is pulling through, even going through all of the infestations, lack of watering, and maybe not enough light. So I think we're fixing things little by little, but is going through, and it's finally bloomed again this year. So yeah, I could not show you this one. And that's everything. I know that's not the most beautiful month. We had better months before, but hopefully in 2 months time, with less pests in my collection, I will have more flowers to show you. And that was everything. I hope you guys have a lovely week, and to see you soon. Bye bye.